Okay, thanks for joining today, guys. I've got a little Caddis Pupa pattern I'm going to be tying for you. It's a little pattern I've been working on for a little bit. Caddis imitation, semi-realistic, but pretty easy. I want to share with you some ideas. Hopefully you can take this and run with it. Let's get started. In the vise today I have a Firehole stick. It's a 315 in size 10. I have a 3.2 millimeter bead here, 1/8 size. Going to be also be using some Nanosilk in white and some dubbing and some latex, Kileys nymph skin. I've been working with this stuff for a little bit. I really enjoy it. Let's get started. We're just going to start behind the bead. We're just going to lay some thread wraps down. This is a little pupa pattern I'm hoping that you can take and have some other ideas with, add to it. It's kind of what I'm working on with these patterns. Is I really want to give you some ideas that you can take and make them your own, and fish them. So I'm going to go ahead and tie the regular thread on here and take the Nanosilk down. We're not going to go too deep. We're going to maybe go toward the top of the bend. Being that this is a size 10 hook, I try to imitate maybe like a size 12, so I'm going to use a little bit larger hook just because I'm using this nymph skin. It takes up a little bit of space and I don't want that hook gap to be compromised. So I just kind of lay a little thread base down. I grab off maybe a piece about 4 inches of this latex. I cut in a little angle there. I'm just going to go ahead and attach this onto the hook at the higher point. And as I go down, I'm going to go ahead and stretch it just a bit. I don't really want to stretch it too tight. I'm just trying to give myself a tie-in to where I can begin at the bottom a little smaller and then have it taper itself up the way a natural caddis would. Going to give my thread a counter spin. Again, this is a pattern you can tie in multiple colors, shades. I happen to be doing a natural one here today. I will share with you at the end a few other videos. A few other patterns that I have tied up. I'm using a fluorescent yellow base so that it'll give this fly a little added color on the bottom. I don't really have to build up too much bulk because this latex is gonna do all the work for me. I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping it around. I'm gonna give it kind of a stretch, but not too tight. Maybe about 50%, and then I'm gonna let off as I start going, wrapping up the pattern here. Again, I'm letting off tension, not complete, but enough to where it's gonna make it kind of chewy, I guess it would be. Kind of soft. I don't really want to stretch this out too much as I'm trying to make the natural shape of a caddis. Of course, as you like, you can stretch and tighten to what you prefer. And I'm just going to rib this up. This latex is really nice to work with. It lays down really nice. Now I'm giving it a little more tension as I come toward the head of the fly. Kind of stretching it a little tighter. Now I'm going to really pull tight to make this last strap, and I'm going to go ahead and capture it. Going to lay down a few wraps just to make sure I have it secured. I'm going to go ahead and cut away this latex, stretching it. It kind of just disappears behind the bead. Then I'm just going to go ahead and whip finish with this thread here. Again, I'm trying to make a simple pattern, something that you can fill your box with and fish. So now I have the Nanosilk here. I'm going to go ahead and pull out maybe 6-7 inches of length. I'm going to give it a little counter spin, and I'm going to flatten this thread out The reason I'm doing that is I'm going to try and split this thread. This is 18/0, so it's not your easiest to do. But once you tie a few, you get the hang of it, and you'll see that I'm making a little dubbing loop is what I'm trying to do. I am going to be using some lighter dubbing. This is SLF dubbing, so it's got a few spikes, little spiky hairs in it. It's going to give the fly some life. I'm going to go ahead and put in about 4 to 5 inches of length of dubbing in this noodle here. In this, in this. There we go. Okay. All right. Let that go a little too early. It's the nice thing with this Nanosilk is it lays really flat, so you can actually work with it pretty easily. It can be fussy, but just take your time. You can make it as sparse as you like or as heavy as you like. It's up to you. I like to back it off a little bit before so that I don't start immediately at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and add some darker dubbing here at the top. So I got a small little blend there, you can see that. I'm going to go ahead and give my bobbin a spin. I'm going to cord this up. And this is to create that little bit of movement in the fly. The gills, I guess you could say. Spin this up nice and tight, and I'm going to go ahead and pull some away. You can see that. I don't want it to be too heavy, just enough to give the impression. So now that we have it kind of corded up here, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these wraps inside each of these ribs that we created with this latex. And as we start going further up, you'll see that it's starting to give the impression of those spiky little gills that come out once you get toward the top. Just going to keep adding that in. So as you can already see, very simple, very lifelike, fun to do. You could probably just tie it and fish it that way right there, and it would catch fish, but I'm going to go ahead and add some legs in just because I enjoy doing this. I'm going to take a pheasant feather. I'm going to grab maybe 10 or so fibers. I'm going to put these here toward the bottom, the length of the hook. I'm just going to tie them in with a couple of turns, front and back. Cut these on the bottom, and with just a little extra dubbing, doesn't take much, just a small pinch. Gonna hide those. Then we're gonna do a quick whip finish here. This Nanosilk is nice to work with because it just disappears. You have yourself a nice Caddis Pupa pattern right here. You can brush it out. You see all the movement that gives with these legs here. We're just going to grab our bodkin, give them a little raise, kind of pinch them into place. I like to do this with a lot of my caddis patterns. I think it just adds that little extra bit of stealth, and you can see that little legs there. And there we have it. It's a fun little pattern. You can really whip those up. You can tie them in a range of colors. Here's one that I just used brown dubbing on throughout the whole body. Make them as heavy as you like or as sparse as you like. October caddis, a lot of fun. You can see this one I didn't add legs on. You can play around with that. I encourage you. That's what I'm trying to do with these videos, to share with you some ideas. More of a sedge color. again with no legs, with legs. So check that out, give it a try, fish them, see what you think. Thank you.